So 5th of January already, 2022. I cannot believe it. We've had a bit of a break over Christmas. Just before we start, Janine, how are you doing? And how was your Christmas and New Year?
Really quiet. I spent both Christmas Day and New Year's Eve and day alone, which I'm not complaining about it. It was nice, actually.
Yes.
My son took a little holiday to visit his sister. So yeah, I just chilled out, and I got a lot of rest, which I think I might have needed, because your energy really catches up to you if you've been going hard for a year and it's been intense. And yeah, so I think I really needed it, and it was lovely, quiet, and sometimes a little bit of a downer, but I got over it, and I feel much better.
Fantastic. Oh, I think everyone needed a bit of a break, really, just to sort of embed in and root in everything that's happened over the last year and a half, because sometimes you need to stop, don't you, to sort of really take stock of where you're at, and most importantly, where do we want to be going? Yeah, so much to talk about today. It's always tricky. I've had a little bit of break from the YouTube videos, so I'm going to try and be very careful with my words. So anyone who's just doing what I do with videos and listening whilst you're walking or something, you might have to look out for a bit of sign language from Janine and I in this one.
Right.
But where do we begin? Well, let's begin with the biggie that everyone wants to know about. Now, I know you've covered this in a couple of your other videos with various slants, but people who watch us know that we love Phil G. Does the rapid fire, and he's done some brilliant stuff that you've shared, I've shared on my Telegram, about the fact that American Mr. T has cancelled his big January 6th announcement, and he's done a really good analysis of why that might be the case. And in that, he talks about perhaps the next big date being the 15th of January, where the announcement might be put back. So can we ask the cards? I know it's the date's always a moving first, so we won't get too hung up on the 15th, but can we ask the cards whether the delay is sort of, whether the delayed announcement's coming very soon within the next couple of weeks?
Yeah. Did you happen to catch Simon Park's latest?
No, I haven't. Honestly, I've been so flat out with work. I'm completely behind with everyone's videos. It's good, is it?
Yeah, he got a take on that as well. And of course, he reminds us that he's under some kind of an arrangement where he can't say certain things. I forget what those are called. NDAs. Yeah, and he gives us a little bit of insight as well. But he mentions the 8th is he's speaking on the 8th instead of the 6th, which is news to me. I haven't heard that other than from him, and a lot of people emailing me about it. But let's have a look.
8th would be even better cards, please.
So I did a little look at this on my Sending Ravens with Tarot by Janine. If anybody wants to go have a look, I decoded Phil's decode.
Yes.
And looks like he had a good point. Now, some people are emailing me since then saying maybe this is all a ruse, and they're just throwing off the bad guys. And to be honest, if you watch Phil in that, he seems like he might have been told to do that.
Yeah.
Some people wrote me, longtime viewers, and I think they had a point there. When I looked at it, I watched it twice, and it does look like possibly he's somebody they say, okay, put this energy out there, put that energy out there. He's always getting phone calls in the middle of his presentations.
I noticed that. It's funny.
And he answers the calls. And sometimes you can tell they're from his kids, and other times you can tell they were business. And he says he answers personal business, which is obviously his kids, and he answers business from other anons or whatever. And it looked to me like he got one of those calls in the middle of that. I feel like they tweak him to put certain things out because he has a big audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I must just warn you, Janine, if I get a call from Daniel Craig or Joe Dispenza, I will take it. Yeah, so just be prepared. Feel free to
Okay,
either of those.
okay,
I'd be equally happy.
I'm good. I'll understand completely. Okay, so, and if I get one from Denzel Washington, that's more my style. I would definitely be taking that call.
Make sure you put it on silent to turn the sound off on your video though, because we don't want to hear the heavy breathing.
Right. Okay. Okay, so we've got the star and the page of cups. So the star and the page. Interesting. Okay, this is indicating that whatever he was going to announce is already done and happened. Okay, so a lot of people are thinking, and this is just decodes, we don't know for sure, but that it's the Jasara Nasara announcement or the money system announcement, which I think those two go hand in hand. Okay, a lot of people are sending me pictures of notes they found on their bank, especially from the US, that says a whole new banking system going up, give us time, patience is needed. We're redoing the banking system, weird things like that. Somebody in Canada showed a picture of them getting money out of the bank machine, and it was American, the new American money out of their Canadian bank machine. Weird things are happening. Okay, so there's, okay, and that looks like whatever it was, even if it was held up the announcement, the thing itself looks like it's actually happened.
Right.
Okay, so that's already in the past. And this is, we've got the star. So there may even be, he was told possibly he needed to step the dates back a little bit. He was told from maybe even off-worlders, so that's interesting. So something could have come up that we won't be understanding until we know all about who else he's working with or who the alliance works with, because this is my off-worlder card. And then we've got this surprise sort of from them. So he could have had a surprise from them. I feel like it's whatever's happened, it's absolutely going to happen, and really soon. Like, we got two aces in the cards, and one says it's already, the thing's been created, which is what I got on my Sending Ravens. The thing that we're talking about that he was going to announce has been created. So whatever created the stepping back, it's just a timing thing.
Yes.
People shouldn't get so worried about the exact day. And also, like people were telling me, I wonder if he was told not to announce it then for some reason.
Yeah.
And that even the universe is going along with the ruse, because secrets need to be upheld.
Yeah.
And I did put up a video on Tarot by Janine today, and I looked at the alliance really closely. I did what I call a zodiac spread on them, and the deep root. So the root of them is secrecy. They needed to develop that to fight these guys. There's only one way to fight a dark cult that's thousands of years, oppressing a planet, and that's that you got to use secrecy and do things undercover. And I feel like even the universe is in on their undercover sometimes, because we don't always get answers to what we want to know, but we do get assurances that things are going forward. And that's what it's looking like again.
Yeah. And I think it's really important, isn't it, Janine, that people realize that it's not like okay, point in time, then everything's all right forever again. This is constantly, things change all the time. So, it's going to be a work in progress for a while yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting things though, both Charlie Ward and Simon Parks both got reinstated, letters from YouTube, and told they could come back on. That's interesting. Some really weird things happening with big sort of mainstream announcers in the US. Forget this woman's name, but they've got this woman that was so leftist, it was almost hard to watch, like it was cringe-worthy to watch her. This blonde announcer, I can't remember her name. Americans would know who I'm talking about. And all of a sudden she's on there calling out the and talking about how useless it is and who's really in the hospitals. It's like, wow, okay, that was so obviously, like, I'm just wondering when the normies catch on to, or are they even listening anymore, and actually to the words that are being said out there? Or are they just still so asleep that they're just like with their masks on?
I think that's a very good point, Janine. I think they've done loads of scientific studies over the years to show that people listen so little to the actual words of what's being said. And I think this is half the problem, is even if they're subtly dropping these things in there, it just doesn't get across at all. So talking of which, my next question, one of the biggest American insurance companies announced recently that in the 18 to 64 age group, since have been introduced, there have been a huge increase in the death rate, which is obviously a real problem to the health insurance companies because they're having to pay out. But again, I haven't seen anything at our end on that, so it doesn't seem to be getting out. Now, is this going to become more common knowledge, and will it be responsible for another round of people waking up?
So yeah, that's true information. So that's my truth kind of card. She's integral and truth. And this is a just and justice. So that's kind of part of the karma. So this is interesting because insurance companies are surely created by the deep state.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this feels like they're going to be hurting because of moves by the deep state, so that they might not thought that all the way through, even though they seem to be pretty thorough about their, plans. Okay, I feel like this is going to be something that wasn't thought all the way through, and those companies are going to suffer because of their own. It's almost like they're biting the hand that feeds them or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the information's true, and it is going to cause a lot of problems and make it a lot harder. You're going to start seeing changes in policy. You're going to start seeing backtracking. You're going to start seeing, so they're freaking out. Insurance companies, they're freaking out. Just think about it. If even half the amount of people go by the way of this thing, this cure, okay, if even a third of what they're saying could leave the earth plane because of that, this is going to wreak havoc. And of course, they're not admitting that it's that. So now the insurance companies have to pay up because it's not something that's, because remember that mandated thing is actually protected by the law. So nobody can go after them, which should tell you everything. If you knew that and you still went and got one of those, that's absurd, literally absurd.
Trouble is, that is the same with all. So, and it's been that for years and no one's noticed. So it's terrible.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad it's all coming to the foreground with this. Like everything's going to be put on the table to be looked at in the coming months. Absolutely. It's going to be brilliant in a way.
Yeah, completely. So,
yeah.
Ooh. Now, my next question, have you seen the film yet? Don't Look Up.
Oh, yes, I did. Right away when it came out.
Brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely hysterical. Now, I don't know, have you done a deep dive into that?
Nope. I was waiting to talk to you about it.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, we could do a whole show just on that.
Look what time it is.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I'm talking about it at 11:11 Alberta time.
So in that film, I've got a couple of questions about it. First of all, now I have to be careful how I say this. So let's start with the overall. Is the film made by white hats?
Okay, it didn't start out that way, and it was hijacked by them and held up and reworked. So that sounds a lot like another film we looked at, didn't we?
Yeah, the James Bond one. Yeah.
Yeah. So they changed a lot of things in there and took it over. Interesting.
Very interesting. So my next question, when you look at the three main stars of it, Jennifer Lawrence, who quite frankly is the only woman that can look that amazing with a mullet hairstyle. So Jennifer Lawrence, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Meryl Streep. Now, obviously, when we look at those names, we would typically associate them with having being taken over to the dark side. So
Yeah.
can I ask about, I don't know if you want to do them together or individually, about those three actors, how, I'm not sure how to phrase it, Janine, perhaps you can help me. How come we've got three supposed yes actors
Yep.
on in a film like this? How does that work out? Have they come over to the light side? Have they done it under duress? You can see why people get confused.
They had to surrender. So that's a surrender card. They were given an ultimatum, judgment. So ultimatum. So they're under judgment. So all of those people are being processed. So during the film, I don't know if they've been processed yet or not, because don't forget these things that show was going on a couple of years back, probably.
Yeah.
It started. And then it got held up, and then it got taken over by White Hat Op. And then they got given the Riot Act. And that might even be why they made, like, I thought both Meryl Streep and DiCaprio, no, how do I say his name?
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo. Yeah, I thought they looked not nearly like, why did they make the character of Leonardo DiCaprio look so bad?
Exactly.
Yet weirdly in the script, like he was really popular with the public and women. Okay,
Yeah.
none of that made any sense. He had no charisma, and
No.
he looked like a really out of shape loser.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought that was interesting because he wouldn't normally, because he's a good looking guy usually, back in he was anyway. Maybe they're showing their true colors here. And also Meryl Streep just looked like really excuse the term, skank.
Yeah.
Maybe they got them showing their true colors. They tweaked the characters. I thought it was the most shallow, like how on earth would she have gotten to be the president? Give me a break. There was absolutely nothing redeeming or honorable, even in a fake way, about her. Okay, so I thought, isn't that interesting? They're portraying them like that.
Very much.
Anyway.
So, did you see at one stage she was sniffing people, and you think we know who that's a reference to. I must say,
I'll have to watch it again.
I've got to watch it again if I can work out, because I can't work my TV. You have to get one of the kids to do it. But I've got to watch it again because I didn't see all the stuff that happened after the credits that everyone says you must. But I'm not going to tell you the ending for Meryl Streep, but it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because obviously some people won't have seen it. But yeah, you've all got to watch that film.
I didn't watch after the credit. Oh yeah, my goodness. Okay, I gotta watch it again.
Yeah, apparently, because I didn't either, and apparently it's really important to watch after the credits. So we'll have to watch it again, and there'll probably be a few more questions next week. So okay, so over in the UK, we supposedly, Queenie has announced the New Year's honours list, and on the New Year's honours list, Tony Blair, our ex-prime minister, who is as evil as they come, and I don't care about slander, who was obviously in at the same time as George Bush Jr. Now, he's been given a knighthood, but so it's just completely ridiculous. I mean, it just, I'm sure anyone who's been given a knighthood in the past now is completely mortified. But it's now come out in the news that his defense secretary, who was his defense secretary at the time of when they went to the Iraq War in 2003, Jeff Hoon, has said on record that he was asked to burn secret memos that showed that the Iraq War could be illegal, and Tony Blair's done it. So my question for the cards is his knighthood part of the awakening? Because there's a huge partition going around the UK and probably globally to have it taken away because he's a war criminal. But is his knighthood on behalf of the Black Hats still in control of that, or in behalf of the White Hats so they can bring all this up to expose it?
It's an exposure.
Yeah.
It's so that gossip and things about them would come out because they knew it would outrage people. So it's meant to, the whole thing's meant to outrage you. It like that just makes sense, right? Like
Absolutely.
just
It's so
showing
much. Sorry, go
in
on.
your face what they do. If you look
Yeah.
at almost anybody probably who's got a knighthood, they're suspicious. I mean, Seville got a knighthood, for Pete's sake.
Exactly. Jimmy Savile. Yeah.
Savile, sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely ridiculous. And it's a shame. It's really weird though, because when you look at the list now, without going through every single one, there are some in there. Now, they get different things, like they get MBEs and OBs and knighthoods. I don't really understand it because I don't really care. But some of them look like quite good people in there. So I wonder, can we ask the cards whether they scatter a few genuinely good people in there to put people off the scent? Just in the general New Year's honours.
Yeah, just to stay safe, it looks like. So they do it as a safety mechanism, so they can't be accused of, you know, yeah, exactly what you said, get people off the scent.
Chris Whitty, our awful person who's been responsible for the whole of the lockdowns and all the ridiculous thing, he's been given one too. So it was quite comical because it has caused complete outroar here. So that it's definitely serving a purpose, even if it's the wrong way. Okay, right, this next one was a really interesting video that was sent to me, and it basically is a video that's doing the rounds on Telegram. It's quite amazing, actually, that is suggesting that Walt Disney is Hitler. Now, the way they've done this video, the two of them together look identical. I looked up their birth dates, and officially their birth dates, there's only 12 years between them, which means could be a possibility. So can we ask the cards whether Hitler is Walt Disney or vice versa? Are they the same person?
So is Walt Disney older than Hitler? No, he'd be younger.
I think he's 12 years younger. One of them's 12 years older or younger than the other. I can't remember which way round it was. When they do the video and they show the two faces morphing into each other, they look identical, but obviously that could be CGI. It could be all sorts.
Okay, this is kind of weird. They may have some woman in common, like they may have relatives in common. So I'm not getting a yes, they're the same person. I'm getting possibly they came from a similar, I almost want to say the woman line.
Yeah.
So they're related is more what it looks like. Yeah. It looks like they're related, but not, it's not as simple as they're the same person.
Yeah. Because it's interesting.
So they might have,
with Project,
might have been contrived.
Yeah, might have, because with Project Paperclip, they were, you know, obviously saying that a lot of the war criminals got sent to America and end up working for the CIA and pieces like that. So it is quite an interesting, you know, scenario. Yeah. I've no idea how well known one was before the other at that time, but yeah, it was fascinating. Okay, great. In the UK, we've got news all the time about our National Health Service known as the NHS, which is all our free healthcare that we get over here. It's in real crisis at the moment because of the V that's going round. Not this, because of the other V and everything. Or that's the excuse anyway. But there's a lot of people for years who've been talking about that the government have been trying to privatise it, and obviously all the public completely rebel, because that's one of the things that really sets us apart is our National Health Service. But can we ask the cards, has it really been privatised in secret and it's just that we don't know about it yet?
I'd say it's a long way to, like, it's almost there. So they were working on that behind the scenes for a really long time.
Yeah.
And it's 60% presenting itself, I think, falsely. So they've been working on that for a really long time. And that I feel like it's going to actually go the wayside because the whole thing's corrupt anyway.
Yeah.
So like, people need to understand, look what they're in charge of. They're completely bought out. Think about it. Everybody's upper health systems are all over the world. If you look at it, all over, probably 90% of the world, they've been completely bought out. And it must have happened years ago because they all went along with this unbelievable agenda.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's shocking. Wow. Well, we know that, as you say, everyone's healthcare systems need to be completely redone. So
Overhaul.
it's a bad thing. It just seems to be. So for our French listeners, President Macron has declared war on the what have the cards got to tell us about that? Because it just seems such a ridiculous thing for even a deep state person to be doing, to be coming out so blatantly. A bit like the Tony Blair thing, really. To me, it looks like, is this just so that all the dirt can come up about him?
He was told to do it. So he was made to do it, to come on really strong. It's part of the wake up. It's like, wakey, wakey, everybody. It's part of the wake up. And it's actually been working. It looks like a lot more people are waking up because of the absurd things like that. Like, sometimes you need it in your face to actually get that you are being completely bamboozled.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's being puppeted. This is like, he's being told what to say. He doesn't make up the script at all.
He's got more important things to think about, because obviously his wife's suing for being for Twitter, people on Twitter saying that she's a man. So he's got. Oh, when I saw that, I was wetting myself laughing. It was so funny, absolutely hysterical.
Did you see that tweet from Chelsea Clinton?
No.
I shared. Okay, she literally says, why is everybody so down on Obama? I'll call him. Right. Just because he partnered with, oh, there's Rufus in the background, just because he partnered with a tranny person. I think she uses a more official term. You know, like, it's okay, just because Michelle.
Oh my gosh, I must feel that on Twitter.
Parts. Yeah, I shared it on my social media. So just because, and it's a tweet from supposedly but what I said was, I wonder who's actually tweeting this, because I believe she was rounded up. And so they take over those accounts, and now they're going to use them for truthing. So she outs Big Mike. She outs Big Mike big time.
I must share that, because everyone who I speak to about that's when they say, now you've done it, you're just getting ridiculous now. Of course, Michael Obama, isn't that? Talking of spamming accounts, though, I don't know if you've had this problem over Christmas, but oh my God, I've got a spammer on YouTube again, pretending to be me.
Oh,
and I can't believe so many people are still contacting me saying, did I tell them to text you? No, I don't. Unfortunately, we're all getting the same problem yet again, where people imitate our accounts, but there's always something different. And then they put comments under every comment saying, what's that and everything. It's not us. So don't be fooled by that. So it is so easy to do, isn't it? That's the problem.
I suggest that people go to our actual websites.
Yeah.
And because I've got it all over my website that I don't do personal readings. So go to the source, and also look on our actual Tarot by Janine and Catherine Edwards channels. Okay, because all of these other channels with our supposed videos, like everything's so tacky, you can tell right away it's not us doing it. And also they're from usually a Chinese account or an Indian account from India. It's like, hello, That's not us. Obviously, it doesn't say Tarot by Janine. It just uses our titles and then goes on to have their own title below. You have to pay attention. I think it's helping people pay more attention to things.
Yeah.
I've been trying to take those guys down, but I can't take down your and my videos. They're up all over the place with other people's.
Oh, it's just everywhere. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a lot of hassle to take them down, but I've taken down a few of them now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It is ridiculous, but just wants to warn people on that.
Yeah.
So there's been lots of good stuff in the news about the Australian Open, well, good and bad. So the Australian Open tennis, now we've got the amazing, now I can't pronounce his name, Djokovic, who kept his status private and everyone knew that he hadn't been. And apparently now he can compete because he's been given a medical exemption, but he's now been held up in customs, surprise, surprise. Having said that, all spectators going to watch have to be at least double, you know what. So my question is, we've got a few sports stars really standing out, but he's the most prominent one. With this, is he going to be successful, Djokovic, in terms of waking up more sports stars to what's being done to them? Because we've still got footballers or soccer players, as the Americans call them, falling like flies.
Yeah. Absolutely. He's going to be a big part of waking up a lot of people. It's weird that it's taking as long as it is, but once it turns a certain corner, I think it'll be like a landslide of waking up. And I actually get he was contacted and the whole thing was created by the White Hats.
Yeah, he's been very outspoken on health issues for a long while. He's really good. Yeah,
I think he's on the good guy's side, like officially.
And also, I think it's a bit easier, don't you, Janine, where you've got someone like a tennis player that's representing themselves. Now, of course, they do some competitions where they represent their countries. But if you've got like a team event where you've got a whole squad, one, it's much easier for you just to be dropped anyway, unless you're someone like Ronaldo. So it's much more difficult to take a stand when you're a member of a team. You've got to have a critical mass of the team players that are going to stand up against it. Whilst on tennis, where you're playing singles and it's just you, then it's much easier to actually put your stake in the ground, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think that must be quite difficult for a lot of the team players because, you know, there's always someone to step in and take your position, really. So this week I saw an announcement that David Bowie, one of my favorite, his whole back catalogue of music and everything and films have been bought out for $250 million by Warner Brothers. Now, I mean, in one respect, you think, well, yes, not surprising. I've seen subsequent news is that this has happened to a lot of other famous stars have done the same. But can we ask the cards, is there a special message in there? Is there something significant behind this? And if so, can it give us a clue as to what?
This is weird. I think there's a secret around this, and a secret's going to come out about him. And I'm not believing that story's true. I think it's gearing up to expose something, either about Warner Brothers or even what's really going on with David Bowie. I wonder if he's one of those stars that falsified leaving, because it was really weird how he did that whole album and or body of music that was so obviously a goodbye and giving out all this personal information, and probably worked on it for years and then left like right after. It's like, okay, I get he apparently left from a long-standing illness, or I don't know if it was long-standing or not, but an illness that you might have been able to know you were leaving. but I just didn't buy any of it. I was like, nah, he's not gone. He just got out of here. Because think about it. Look at the movies he's been in.
Mm.
Dark Crystal, if that isn't telling you everything that's going on underground. My goodness, just watch it again. It's horrifying.
Dark Crystal.
Yeah, the Dark Crystal. It's all about this dark underground that involves young, very young people.
I've not seen that at all. I'm amazed I haven't seen that because I loved him. He was my absolute favorite growing up. So, wow. Okay, that's right. One for the list. Cancel all work now. I've got to watch all these films. So, too much to do. What can the cards tell us about what's going on in Hawaii? Because in all the news, it looks like, there's an awful lot happening in Hawaii, and there's whistleblowers, air hostesses saying that they've been segregated and all sorts going on. So there's obviously something strange going on there.
Yeah, I did hear something about, so that all of those video clips of these army personnel taking, like basically calling martial law. Apparently people have investigated and looked into that, and those guys are wearing outdated army outfits.
Yeah.
And they may be doing the postal takeover, assuming that the post office is actually in charge of, well, apparently every country in the world, their post office is actually who's running things. The postal system. Fascinating. I find that fascinating. And that they're doing a takeover sort of from a different perspective that may not have anything to do with, say, the alliance. But just to clarify, that's likely the case, but let's have a look.
I'm gonna pin my postman down and question him tomorrow then.
The postmasters are in charge of like the countries, apparently. Like, this is outrageous to me to learn these things. It's like, and it has something to do with language and how we use languages. It's all so complicated that I've got to take years to figure this out. But yeah, it's like, wow.
Great.
So there's something legal that they've upheavaled, and they actually have, whoever's doing whatever they're doing, they have a legal, like they're basically trying to take back the state of and or Hawaii. Okay, but they actually have legal grounds to do it. So, depending on, it looks like a group that got together. This doesn't look like the White Hats per se, but it does look like they've been meeting for a while, maybe not nearly as long as the White Hats. And so it's a group that's got some ideas about this, right? But they're kind of flimsy on all their, like, they're not entirely nailed down all of their facts. So they might not have everything nailed down, but this is interesting. That's all going to change anyway. And we're all going to be in a safer place soon. Before that even plays itself out, Hawaii comes into a better place anyway with that world card. The whole world takes a turn anyway, and something else will probably take our attention over there. But these guys have the right idea. I think more people should be doing things like this and just really looking into what are our rights, because all our rights they're trying to take them all away. So go use what you got left and make some statements and claims. You can actually take over your own government if they're actually against the people, which everybody's is. Yeah. Everybody's government is acting against the rights and wellness of their people right now. All of the governments all over the world are doing it for the most part. So
it's quite unbelievable. So actually, because I wasn't very well over Christmas, I managed to watch, and I was looking after my mum who wasn't very well either. I watched quite a few things on TV that I never normally do. And it was really fascinating to see in the UK how many sort of political scandals happened in the 60s. I mean, it was just one after another. And they were all reported on then and everything. It was quite fascinating. I thought, well, that says an awful lot, actually, because, we've known forever that the whole political system is just completely corrupt and one rule for them, and they don't abide by anything that they inflict. So it was quite fascinating to watch, actually. Yeah. So there are lots of people saying that we as a collective could do more by asking for help from off-worlders and angels and whatever you might want to ask for help for. And I think probably as a human race, we're not necessarily very good at asking for help. So could we ask the cards whether that could shift things to our benefit if more people were to do that?
Big yes. This says we're in way over our head. Yeah, you think? Yeah, and so that's a big yes. Okay, we are really at the end of the whole thing, though. This is the crescendo time, you bet. And if you watch Simon Parks, and I don't always agree with everything he says and whatever, I get lots of people have issues with him, and but I get he does mean well and has. So what I do is with these, so that's why I'm not going to deep dive on these people that are just trying to do their best, because I just check in energetically and I can feel his intention, and his intentions are good. And there is a lot he doesn't say because apparently he's under non-disclosures agreements, whatever. And that's fine, but he does give some great tidbits, and he's a little enthusiastic and sometimes is so sure about the dates. He might want to step back on doing that. I've learned the hard way, because cards never go along with dates. I mean, that's just not how the spirit world works, right? We can say, yeah, that something's in, because what unconsciously things are in place to be a yes. So the cards are going to read yes. They're going to read, yeah, we got to go. But I mean, that's in the next year, we got to go. Maybe not that date, but that date, there's all this underlying thing that cards are picking up on that makes it a yes. But humans don't see the yes yet. And humans are too literal sometimes. So we got to step away from those dates. But other than that, he gives a lot of good intel. And he's basically saying, the same thing as what I'm just saying here. So that's a yes.
Good. Get asking, everyone. Come on now. If we all ask, they're all going to flood in to help us, which is really, really important.
Yeah.
Just a couple more. This has come to me from a couple of people. I can't pronounce her name. Sayaka Kanda, who was the Frozen actress, died suddenly at the age of 35 by supposedly falling down 14 floors from her hotel room. Can we ask the cards whether she is really gone from this plane? And if so, was it foul play or an accident?
A lot of people have decoded that movie, and it's just literally deep state dark cult, hey?
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't let my kids anywhere near it if they were young enough to watch it still. Yeah, she was sort of, I'm getting a sacrifice of some kind. And I also get she was really involved with the party substance. Yeah.
There you go. Those of you that asked me to look into that, I've never seen it, and I certainly don't want to, but you might not want to rewatch it at all. So, okay. So final question then. So we covered this, it's sort of linking back to the first question I asked about Mr. T delaying it. So there's lots of stuff from evidence from all over saying that the actual currency revaluation has happened in the background, but everyone's asking, when will people get to hear about the revaluation of the Zim and Dongs and things like that, and when will they be able to make use of that?
That's a good way to put it. So it's been very carefully maneuvered for a really, really long time. That's been a long, slow process. It's been going on for years and years. Okay. Now we've got the Fool and the 6. So it almost feels like they're at the whim of some people holding it up here. I almost feel like, so it's like there's a few people that actually have made deals maybe that aren't maybe upholding their ends of the deals, because we've got this card in the middle. In particular, maybe 1 or 2 people who just don't want to. I don't know why they would hold up something like that. I would love to, if I was on the helm of that, but maybe they're still tied to their dark cult roots, or do you know what I mean? If they got into that kind of power where their hands are on the switch on something like that, maybe they just can't give that up to the regular folks because they don't believe regular folks should have the power of abundance like that. There's a lot of people have an issue with that, right? So they think there's the has and the have-nots, and it should always stay that way. That's the feeling I'm getting there. Okay, but so the outcome is absolute. They do let her loose because this is a huge abundance card. Okay, and to the general public. And then we've got 2 other 10s. So now we've got 3 10s. So we're right at the bitter end. It could be any day, literally. So it's all been done. There's literally just 1 or 2 people holding it up that need to get over it and or be maybe forced to or whatever. I don't know.
That ties in quite closely with Phil G's stuff, doesn't it, in terms of the fact that Mr. T was really fed up that someone had gone back and delayed stuff. So that does tie in very closely with that.
Some people just love that power too.
Yes,
they have all that power. Instead of using it for good, they want to mess with you. Like that sounds like somebody brought up in a dark cult family to me, because they wouldn't have the compassion or the wherewithal to know doing that amount of good for the world, because it sets loose all kinds of funds for all these projects.
Yeah.
And it puts money in the hands of sort of the have-nots, and let's see what we can do with it. Because we're definitely, hopefully more aware than the bad guys have been, and we know what not to do with it.
Yeah.
And what won't be allowed. Like there's going to be this is going to be watched.
It's
like, what
so
are we going to do with it?
I've just had a really good chat that I haven't put up yet with the amazing Dr. Christiane Northrop. And one of the things we were really talking about is fear. And when someone as good and as pure as she is, when they have no fear and they really step into their power, it's so powerful, and it's completely different to what we're seeing on the dark side of things.
Yep.
Where their fear is disempowering them and everything. So it's an interesting one. So any final messages from the cards that they want us to know for this week?
Okay, so there are a couple of things being held up that are like working out. It's like it has everything to do with contracts and agreements. Contracts and agreements. And it is holding things up, maybe only for days though, because that swords is days or maybe weeks, but it could also mean there's gonna be more push from the good guys. Like this is my army card, this is my military card. Okay, and to be honest, I say bring it on.
Yeah.
I say martial law from the good guys is okay with me. You know what I'm saying? Okay, because it was a real punch in the gut, even holding it up. I feel like the holdups were people stepping away from agreements, and we're just a mess. And maybe those people were even planted to look like they were going to go along, and then they just threw the switch right last minute. This happened to me when I was talking about this on my channel, and I feel like we're almost given too much info here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny enough, I don't know if you saw me reach water, same sort of thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got to be careful, so I'm just not going to talk about that anymore. But anyway, so the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune, thing like we've been seeing that wheels turning, you guys. I felt like it already did sometime in December. Things were going on in the back channels that turned everything, and we got more big turning coming, and everything's just not going to stay the same. Don't worry about it. Things are coming, things are changing. It's very exciting times, let's just say.
It certainly is. Oh, thank you so much. That's been really good. A lot of people have missed these Wednesday night chats. So it's new year, you know, new energy. Ask those angels, guides, spirit guides, animal guides, whatever you want for help, guides. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot happening over the next few weeks, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. I talk to the trees a lot these days too, and tell them to send the message.
Yes.
We are ready for the change. Let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Janine, and have a fantastic week. And we will see you next week.
Awesome. Good to see you again, Catherine. And you have a great week too.
Take care. Bye.